So, afternoon, I was sitting here thinking about how frustrating it is with technology. Um, Remember how Davita has joined forces with Care Connect? I believe that's how it worked. Maybe they bought out Care Connect. Maybe Care Connect was somebody hired by Davita. I don't know. But anyways, it is the app on your phone that you use to communicate with Davita. And apparently for like a year now, at least. I want to say it's probably longer than that, but they really started to push that we put our information into the app under treatment. So every day you log in and you put your blood pressure in there, you put, whatever things you need to put in there, how much you drained, how much you put in, the time, all this yada, yada, yada. I was not a fan of it because I always had problems with it. From the very beginning, when I first started, I think it was around, but it wasn't real good. So my frustrating thing is that you have to put in a new password like every 3 months or something like that. And that's so frustrating. And I rarely used it. So it seemed like every time I needed to use it or wanted to use it, I had to come up with a new password. So that was like years past, right? So as of now, within the last 2 or 3 months, I've been consistently going to it so that I could post in there my dialysis and all of that. But apparently it got hijacked or something. Now, I'm going to say that I have never not had problems with it. The way it's set up is really confusing, and I think there should be like a PD part and then a hemo part. I think that would help clear that up and how you're putting stuff in, because you can easily get mixed up. I wish you could set things up where it's like because I'm very consistent. So it's like 7, 10, 1, 4, or 5 to drain, whatever it may be. I'm very consistent typically. So I feel like you should be able to change it, but you could actually just set it, have like a settings and an edit, because if you mess up, like one time I put in my 10 o'clock exchange, which I failed to put AM, so then it looked like it was PM, which really messed up the whole thing. And it just really bothered me. So I know that Deborah knew exactly what had happened and how to read it, but it still is frustrating to me. So anyways, when I talked to her the other day, she mentioned that I needed to write down all my information because the app or the company or something was hijacked and they were having problems trying to get into the system and so forth. When you first start, you're given these log reports. I think that they still do that now, but you're given these log reports because you have to break down everything that's happening so you fully understand. So like you do your blood pressure, there's a weight area, there's what kind of bag you used, how much you put in, the time, what you drained out, whether it was clear or cloudy, and then what you put back in. And so that was a running log forever. And I used that for years and years, and I didn't mind it because to me, paperwork is so fun. But then apparently, then they would take the paperwork and they would have to log it into their system, in the computerized system. But the problem is that if there's an issue, like say my blood pressure for a couple of days is super, super high, there's no way that they know that until I go into my next appointment. So I think they figured that that's probably not the safest way to handle it. So that's why they started to push us using it. So I finally gave in and I started to add everything in there. And I had probably 2 months worth of logs. So I just sat there one day and I just entered all of that into the system. And part of me was like, I should get a job as a data entry person because this is fun. Like I did like it. It wasn't a burdensome at all, but I did that. And then, I threw away those papers and I had a couple more copies of blanks. So I just threw those away because it's like, what's the point of having it? And now here we are. So I was told to fill out the log because they're trying to figure out this whole hijacking thing, right? What I noticed the last couple of weekends was that on the weekends especially, it wasn't letting me log in. And, well, technically I could log in, but it wouldn't take me to the place I needed to get to enter my treatment information. Now, to me, I'm like, what does it matter? Why does somebody want this information? Like, to me, why does it have to be so secure? I don't know. Maybe there's just something I don't know. But I'm like, if you're really, like, how are you getting money off of me if that's the goal? Like, I don't think that's possible. Maybe trying to use Medicare, or are they snooping? I don't know. Like, it's weird. I don't know why somebody would take the time to hijack a company that works with dialysis patients. Like, we're just us. Like, there's no riches to get unless somehow they're hacking into Medicare or something. I don't know. Like, it's wild to me. It seems weird. I don't know. Anyways, so now I'm supposed to write these logs out. I don't have any of that paperwork. I don't want to drive across town to get a copy of it or to get copies of it either. So I'm a little frustrated, honestly. It's just... So I have a little notebook. I'm just writing it down. I'm also logging it in because somehow on Monday I would log into the app and just put the whole weekend's worth of information in, and it's saving it. So I don't know if somebody's seeing it behind the scenes or who shouldn't be seeing it. But in my head, I'm like, what does it matter whether I trained? Like, do they even understand what's happening with the stuff going into the system? Like, it just sounds weird. I don't know. It just sounds weird and frustrating, and I'm sure Davita is frustrated, but I think that they're probably more worried about maybe lawsuits, because their job is to help us, and their job is to keep us alive, and their job is to take care of us. So if they don't know that our ship is sinking, then how are they supposed to help us unless we call in? I'm not a good caller-inner. So, although my ship will probably not sink because I do really well and I'm very conscious of what I am doing. With that in mind, I don't follow political things at all necessarily. Like, I see stuff on Facebook all the time, and the hate that I see for Trump is just so sad. And whether I agree with the things he does or not is not the point. Whether he is good or bad is not the point. The point is, like, it just saddens me that there's so much hatred, like hatred out there for a person who's in leadership. You don't have to get along with everybody, but I would hope that we were mature enough to respect, and then, I don't know. Anyways, my point is this. Apparently, there's this thing called tariffs, and so my doctor asked me if I was affected by my supply because of the new president. And I said I didn't think so, because my supplies came. Yay, so I don't know what all that means. I did tell him, well, if push comes to shove and my supply is limited, I can survive off of one bag. Watch me shine bright. And we all laughed and it was great. But I'm serious. Like, if I have to eat very minimally and if I have to be even more cautious, gosh, I'm so tired I can't talk, then I will be. Like, that's what we have to do. That's called discipline. That's called self-discipline. That's called being responsible. Like, if that happens, I'm not scared. Because guess what? I've already done it before. When we had that whole debacle before about the North Carolina plant being destroyed, and our dextrose having to come from another country because we were short. I feel bad for people who are probably going to be greatly affected because I guess the tariffs have something to do with their shipments of stuff, but I also, it's hard. I have compassion, but at the same time, if you're on dialysis, you're still responsible. Like, we have to be responsible for ourselves, and we can't pass that on to anybody else because nobody is forcing us to eat. And nobody is forcing us the sodas, the juices, the high concentrated, the preservative filled, chemically fake food that's processed. Like, nobody's forcing you to eat that. So as much compassion as I have for people who are having a hard time, and that may be me in a month or so, we still have to be responsible for ourselves. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But so far, I just know that my order is coming, and I kind of hope that it's an American order, or at least stuff from Mexico, because it's just the stuff from Thailand, the bags, I just hope are okay. I don't know. So anyways, that's my truth. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Drink your water, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.